really took to heart what Father Otier was saying in his homily about Father Kenville really inspiring vocations to come out of the parish, and that's certainly the case with me. And if I could just share one little story to explain to him one aspect of Salesian life that he exemplified so quickly and so totally when I first met him. And there's a lot of Taste family members here who can attest to this. And one attribute of our Salesian life together is our family spirit. And there are a few moments that are more intimate to a family than those relaxed and casual Saturday mornings when you sort of show up at the breakfast table looking like God knows what, and it's okay. Well, on many of those mornings, we'd be just sipping back our second cup of coffee and knock, knock, knock at the door. It's Father Kenville. And the first few times, you can imagine my poor mother with rollers and her blue terry cloth bathrobe, scampering into the sanctum sanctorum of her bedroom. And he started speaking Italian. Buongiorno, signore. And she said, Father, I'm sorry, I'm not Italian. He looked at her like, what's wrong with you? So then he said, okay, you try it in French. Oh, bonjour, madame, comment ça va, qu'est-ce qu'on mange ce matin? Father, I don't speak French. What's wrong with you? You may want to try English, that works pretty well. So anyway, after about 12 times we got used to it, it stopped being a crisis. And so he became part of the family very, very quickly. At this time, if I could call upon Father Trudell, who is the spiritual father of our jubilarian tonight. Father Trudell will lead us in grace.
Let us place ourselves in the presence of God. Dear God, our Father in heaven, at the Last Supper on Holy Thursday, your divine Son, Jesus, prayed for his disciples, that you may make them holy in the truth. Here we are, also gathered for the supper, asking you to bless and make holy your disciple Ronald, and us also with him, in the truth that he has taught through his gospel. May we too, as your disciples and your children, enjoy this supper in brotherly love, in the fullness of the joy your divine Son had in dining with them. And all of us, along with the delicious gifts your fatherly kindness has created for us to enjoy. In the name of your Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Have the pièce de résistance right now. Even better than dessert. Something he's been waiting for a long, long time. And if I could have Mrs. Margaret Baptiste to come and help us with this, please. Mrs. Baptiste is a parishioner and an artist in her own right. And she has created a masterpiece to really put the icing on this celebration. Father Kenville has not yet seen the portrait that Margaret has painted of him. So for the official unveiling, Mrs. Baptiste and Father Kenville.
You take it off. Yeah, just pull it.
As some of you may know, I do like to give a type of historical bent to many occasions, and certainly we are in the presence of history right now as we are honoring Father Kenville. He was the first, I understand, director in Toronto. He led the Salesians here back in 1977 to begin the Salesian work in Toronto. He was also a former provincial delegate, which is like a former provincial, major superior. And I sort of like to use the words in being the presence of history like this. I think of someone like Julius Caesar, and I like to apply these words to Father Kenville. Wherever Father Kenville served, no matter where it was, in Canada or in the States, he came, he saw, and he conquered. To our living Salesian legend, Father Kenville. A salute.
Give you a break, let's hear somebody else for a change.
Who am I going to pick?
We have a number of presentations that we want to make to Father Kenville at this time, and if I'm not catching anybody off guard, I'd like to call on the representatives of our St. Benedict's parish community, 3 long-standing members who wish to say a few words of appreciation to Father Kenville. And if I could call you up, all 3 of you at this time, and just take the microphone in your turn. That'd be Mr. Ralph McDonald, Mrs. Janice Glover, and Mr. Joe Galuzzi.
I had to make some notes here so I wouldn't forget. Smart I'm not, but old I am. Anyway, Reverend Fathers, clergy, religious, honored guests, fellow parishioners, and of course Father Ron. There's no way all you people can begin to know the feelings of pleasure I have in having won the spirited competition, to have the opportunity to express the appreciation of my comrade parishioners, both present and those unable to be here, to Father Ron on the occasion of 2 landmark occurrences. I'd be derelict in my duty if I didn't seize the opportunity to recognize Father Monsignor Breen, who's our founding religious, and welcome on behalf of all the parishioners who love to see him return. Good to see you again, Father Breen. And on a personal note, I welcome again Father Trudell. He's been a thorn in my side for some time. And for both of these people, probably I should tell you a little story about both of them. 100 years ago, when we had in the youth in the parish here, we had a very active youth group at the time, and they carried on various functions in the hall here. My daughter belonged to one of the groups, and between all the young people at the time going to school, they learned a little music. So they decided at one of their functions one night, they'd form a little orchestra and play some of their own music. Well, that was great, and I asked the daughter, what time is this likely to occur? Oh, she said maybe about 10:30 or so. So I thought, well, I'll go over and kind of sneak at the window over there and have a listen to the music, because I do like music. So I came in about 10:30 and parked the car over on the side there, and it was a nice fall evening, and I was leaning up against the car, minding my ear, minding my business, and kind of taking care of my knitting. And pretty soon I hear some footsteps coming around, and it's Father Breen. And he said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm waiting for those guys to crank up their music. I'd like to hear it. And he said, well, I was a little late locking up around, so he said, I came around with the same idea. So we stood around the car and made small talk for some time, and he said, I've had enough of this. He said, I've got an early marriage in the morning, so he says, I'm out of here. So I stayed there, and after a little while, I guess the silhouette of the light from the school shone on me there, and I was peeking in the window back there. And pretty soon, I hear some footsteps coming around the other way, and it's the priest, the young priest who was taking care of him at the time, whose name, with the gray cells have gone, can't remember. But here he was with two big guys, and they thought they had a real peeping Tom. So that was a little embarrassing. And of course, Father Trudell, I have to say something about him. One time, a few years ago when I was here, we had occasion during their lunch hour to move something through the area in the kitchen where they were having their lunch. So I'm up the stairs first, and I said, "Would you guys mind if we move this through here while they're having your lunch?" And he says, "We're not guys, we're a priest." Boy, he sure stood me on my end, I'll tell you that. However, that's those two. Now, along with others who've been at the podium before me, I'd like to say something nice about Father Ron. But I can't. My first exposure with Father Ron was up at Father Henry Carr High School when they let him in by the hand into the common room and said, and I think the real words at the time were, "This is our new beloved teacher in whom we'd better be well pleased." When the little introductions were over, I said hello to him, and he was stuck for an answer. He's the first guy I ever know that couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. At around the same time, we heard that he knew quite a bit about hockey. So we thought we'd tolerate him and allow him to come down to some of the Junior B games. Well, the first thing we know, he was nearly running the outfit on us. And he even to the singing of Old Canada, and sometimes even yet in French. Strange occurrences happening. As I was coming in tonight, I met Arnie Catabo, and I mentioned it was some special occasion that these two dates being celebrated at the same time. He seemed puzzled and said he thought he was leaving, and he only came to make sure he was going. Anyway, all that nonsense aside, I better get down to the matter at hand. Father Ron, I know that I speak for all our parishioners when I express our appreciation for your attention and ministrations over the years. And with your special talents and abilities to make your presence felt in all the activities that take place in our parish, you have served us well and have led many parishioners in your special religious followings and chapel events, and you avail yourself by attending all the social events that have taken part in some of the shenanigans, as well as obliging and surprising us with your vocal talents, both in English and Italian. Father Ron, allow me the luxury again, on behalf of all our parishioners, to thank you for your special time with us and your numerical accomplishments, and hope that the man upstairs will see fit to reward you with a long life and particular good health. May the Lord bless you and take care of you. Thank you very much.
I would like to speak on behalf of the ladies of the parish, of the CWL, and all the ladies. I'm not a humorous person. I don't have any stories really to tell about Father Kenville. I have a couple of things. I like to think of the priests, and I think we all should think of them as spiritual fathers. And from the moment I started coming here, Father Kenville was like a father. There was one sermon in particular I remember him giving. We were over at the school across the way. There was, for whatever reason, I'm not sure, but he gave a sermon on hell. And if anyone has ever heard his sermon on hell, it would scare the bejesus out of me. He scared me, and I went up to him afterwards and I told him how frightened I was because of what he had said. But like a good father, he was, I think, telling us when we are perhaps going from the good way onto the evil ways. And he is like a father, I think. I remember one funeral mass I was at. It was a young lady who I'd known, and I used to visit her. She had MS, and she died very tragically quite young, and Father used to go and visit her. And he gave the funeral mass, and he gave the homily. And it was so moving because the husband of the lady who had died, the young lady who had died, was very loving to her right up to the very end. And if you know of anyone who has died of MS, it's not very pleasant. This woman was not able to see, and she had been in a lot of pain. Anyhow, he had loved her right up to the end. And I remember Father Kenville saying in that sermon at the funeral mass to the young men who were there that this man, Joe, really resembled what he thought all husbands should be, the way they should love their wife as Joe had loved his wife up to the end. And I don't know, it really struck me, something that perhaps others would not have said. And I think the best thing perhaps about a father, I think back on my father, and I think Father Kenville, is that he gives example. Through all his humor and everything else, I think if we look at his life, his special devotion to the Blessed Virgin, the hours he spends before Eucharistic adoration, it's through his example that I think we truly can call him Father. He really is a father to us. And so on behalf of the ladies of the parish, Father Kenville, we wish you the very best, and may God continue to bless you.
Well, on this heavy occasion of Father Ron's anniversary, I'm very honored to have been asked by our pastor, Father Alan, to say a few words on behalf of St. Benedict Italian community. And I want to assure Father Kenville that the deal we made stands. I only say good things about him, and he's going to give absolution when I go for confession. A close relationship with Jesus, and even though I had some resentment, some kind of thing, why I wasn't born when Jesus was living on this earth. And that gospel showed me the love that Jesus had for me even now that I'm a believer. Father Ron replied, it is only when we feel loved by God that we really become a servant and his disciples. The love of God gives us a self-esteem, and only then we can share his love with others and serve one another. It is only through service that become one. Father Ron has proven over the years his service for this Italian community, his service for God and his church, his loyalty to the Holy Father, and his devotion to the Blessed Mother. I can only say that if it would be possible to take away from Father Ron his big teddy bear heart, if it would be possible to take away his love for God and his church, if it would be possible to take away his faith, and if it would be possible to take away his joy for a good Italian meal, Father Ron would cease to exist, at least in the present form that we know him now. Father Ron, on behalf of the Italian community, we congratulate you on your anniversary, and we wish you many more years of service to God and his people. We thank you for all you have done for us, for us as a community, and as people of God also. May God bless you and keep you in his loving care. have one more request that comes from the Italian community. Father Ron insists many times that he's not an Italian. But I can tell you that he speaks, acts, and thinks like an Italian. And if I may add also, he eats like one. And with this in mind,
Go away, come on, Joe.
we of the Italian community would like to make an honorary son. And with this in mind, I would like to call on Father Otier, our Salesian provincial, to make a proclamation and install you as a parochial vicar of this Italian community.
So on behalf of those three people and all the rest of us, just do go away convinced that we do love you and we're glad for everything you've done for us and with us. At this time we're going to have a musical interlude. And at first we thought, well, what would be fitting for an occasion like this? And we thought, well, we know Father Ron's favorite singer is Anne Murray. And we called her up, and she was willing to come. We thought, well, this is something really big. This is something bigger than Anne Murray. Let's do it. Let's risk it, okay? Let's ask Tammy. And it was expensive. It was expensive, but she canceled Vegas, and she decided to come. So she is going to do 2 Anne Murray songs because we know that Anne Murray is Father Ron's favorite after Lily Pons. So, Tammy.
I was much emptiness within. For the thing that I want most in life is the thing that I can't win. Spread your tiny wings and fly away, and take the snow back with you where it came from on that day. What I love forever is untrue, and if I could, you know that I would fly away with you. A breeze along the river seems to say that he'll only break my heart again should I decide to stay. So little snowbird, take me with you where you go, to that land of gentle breezes where the peaceful waters flow. Yeah, and if I could, you know that I would fly away with you.
Thank you, Tammy. I knew we didn't make a mistake. I learned to eat your heart out. Yes. Where am I looking? Oh.
Always sang grace. We missed the fact that he sang grace today.
Should we ask him to sing it? Well, there you go, Father Ron. How can you refuse a request like that? So I want you to come and sing grace. It's not the same without your singing grace?
This is completely out of place, but I'm going to try and sing this one. Bless our friends, bless our food. Come, O Lord, and sit with us. May our talk glow with peace. Bring your love and surround us. Friendship and peace, may they bloom and glow forever. Bless our friends, bless our food, bless our dear land forever.
As I was watching Joe Galuzzi give his few words of appreciation, I really watched on in admiration as he must have been 3 or 4 or 5 listening sheets of paper, and he just knew it without any difficulty. And it reminds me of something that Father Kenville didn't do quite so smoothly at one of his first homilies here some years back. And he was expounding on the wonders of creation and the Genesis story about Adam and Eve, and he must have had some 12 or 13 pages with him. Remember that time? Let me try to refresh your memory. So you were speaking really very eloquently. I was quite moved. And he got to the point at the bottom of page 12, I think it must have been 14 pages, and he was telling us of how he imagined Adam and Eve would have spoke. So he goes on to say, and Adam told Eve, and as he went to flip the page, he looked somewhat distraught. So he repeated the words, trying to buy some time. So Adam told Eve, and as he's looking, he can't find his papers. And Adam told Eve, and he shoots a look over at the altar boy, and Adam told Eve, no reaction, and Adam told Eve, so he says, this is not going to work with the eyeballs, I better just try to give him a little message. So Adam told Eve, I lost my leaf. So Adam told Eve, I never forgot that homily. And after that, I knew how creation happened. serious side to all this frivolity, and Father Kenville does have some highbrow connections. So if you could please come to the podium, Father Kenville, it's time for some of that, protocol stuff. Please indulge me. You're not going to speak, please don't speak, just come to the mic. It won't hurt. We know you know what pain is, but not tonight.
God, I got more pain tonight than ever.
And they're from some notables in our local government. So the first reads as follows: Father Ronald Kenville, I wish to offer my warmest congratulations on the occasion of your 50th anniversary of religious profession on September 17th, 1994. With all best wishes for continued health and happiness, Mr. Roy McLaren, our MP for Etobicoke North. And there's more. If you think it's a deja vu, it's almost, but it's not. Father Ron Kenville, I am pleased to offer my warmest congratulations on the occasion of your 40th anniversary of ordination on September 17th, 1994. With all best wishes, etc., the Honorable Roy McLaren, MP for Etobicoke North. And the last one. The Mayor and members of Council gratefully recognize the contribution of Reverend Ronald Kenville, S.D.B., who has, with selfless devotion, served the Roman Catholic Church for 40 years. We acknowledge the uplifting value of his inspiring messages, which have provided spiritual enrichment to the community, the encouragement he has offered through his dedication to high principles, his commitment to responsible leadership. Yeah, this is you. This is for you. And his ongoing concern for the welfare of others. Dated in Etobicoke, the 17th day of September, 1994, Mayor Bruce Sinclair. On their behalf, he's going to have a chance to speak at the end. I don't know if you want to give two speeches.
No, I don't. I think Kelly speaks at the end. I heard him.
Well, we'll just keep you hanging on there with bated breath for the words of wisdom from Father Kenville. 50 years. Okay, we have members here from our local Salesian Cooperator, another branch of our Salesian family. And I think, well, I do know Mrs. Chris Smith would like to address a few words to Father Kenville. Chris? She says it's unplanned, so it's bound to be very good.
Thank you. Father Kenville, I was sitting at the table, and I knew that they hadn't asked the cooperators to speak, or I was just sitting there, and I thought, well, has Father Kenville touched my life? And I think all of you probably sit there and think, well, if they had asked me, what would I say? And I'm sure that all of us have probably one story. I'm sure we all have one story that we could relate of where Father Kenville has touched our lives, and if not our own personal lives, our families, our children's lives. My children are altar boys, and they always come home with stories about Father Kenville giving them the eye, get over here, So he keeps them in line, I tell you. But one of the, there's two stories, but the one that really touched us, and my husband and my children, as a matter of fact, even my unborn child, which we have 7 children, 6 boys and 1 little girl, and it was our 6th. Let me see, Don, what was it? Our 6th. Our 6th child. With that pregnancy, at the end of our pregnancy, my pregnancy, at the end of the last 5 weeks, I ended up going into the hospital, thinking I'd just go in for a week, but that's it, the doctor didn't let me go home until I had that baby. So it ended up being 5 weeks in the hospital. And at this point, the first day, obviously the parish must have found out I was in, prayers were coming, but the first opportunity that Father Kenville had, he came in that same, let's see, I went in, I think, during the week. Well, anyway, that Sunday, Father Kenville comes to bring me communion. And I thought that was so sweet and so special. But then Monday came around, and this was all unplanned. Father Kenville comes to bring me communion, and I thought, this is wonderful. And I was in a ward with four, we were about 4, 5, 6, it was so crowded. But Father Kenville would come, and all these other women, would see this jolly priest come. And Tuesday came around, Wednesday, it was just something so touching to see him come and bring me communion. Because during the week, people couldn't really visit, and I really got lonely. And here I am, sticking out, 9 months pregnant, and Father Kenville got to bless the baby. It just touched me so much knowing that he was coming. But anyway, at a certain point, they even gave me a private room. And I really believe that, just from his coming, that the providence started coming as well. They gave me a private room with a rocking chair. Well, that did it. This is so special. I'd stay on the bed, relax. Father Kenville would come, do his thing, give me communion, and then sit down. And we had our hour every single day for 5 weeks. I know all about his life. I know about Jocelyn. I know about his cousins. I know stories that it was just so touching. I could even do this for Brother Wright.
You're right.
All right. But from the bottom of my heart, I just knew that the pregnancy was going to be fine because, now I'm going to cry. I read it, but it was so touching because we didn't know. I was hemorrhaging and I was bleeding and Father Kenville was coming. At a certain point, I remembered. Anyway, it was just so special knowing that he was there. I was lonely many times. My husband would be home with the other children, taking care of them. So he fulfilled the role of a father, a husband. We were living a chaste life at that point too, so he fit in well. So, from the bottom of my heart. And then the baby was born. I named him Jonathan, and then no one could baptize that baby but Father Kenville. As a matter of fact, the baby was born that same day, because I was induced, that same day I opened my eyes, and who do I see? The first person. Well, other than the fact that Don had been there also. But it was Father Kenville. So he's a special, beautiful, special human being that is on this earth. Thank you, Father Kenville.
I'm missing my dessert,
Oh, our cameraman says he's missing his dessert. Well, I got to do with that, Father Kenville. Can I call you up, please, to ceremonially cut the cake? They've called upon you to cut the cake. It's right over here to my left. Get your cameras ready. This is the moment you've been waiting for.
Smile for the camera. You get it?
I know, Father, that you enjoy very much a sweet. Okay, so we are going to be sweet. All of us Salesian sisters, the 26 of us, a few of us are here. There are many in Montreal. And we would like for you, of course, but there's only one conductor in this world. There's only Father A.Kenville who can conduct this choir. So may I ask all the sisters to come? Ready?
Chante à la joie, toujours ta joie. Chante à plein cœur, âme sereine. Chante le vrai bonheur. Si le doute, ça qui te goûte, chante avec nous.
Just a brief reflection that was written by one of our sisters, Sister Lise, who expresses her brief sentiments this way. What has always impressed me about Father Kenville is his great devotion to the Blessed Mother and to the Pope. I have always enjoyed the fraternal moments spent with Father Ron. Beneath that rough and gruff style of his, he has always displayed tremendous love and tenderness, especially towards us, his baby sisters, the Salesian sisters. There you go. Now we're going to shift from the sublime to the ridiculous. We heard the Salesian sisters.
Papa Smurf in Claricles. I want to get these serious things out of the way first. And so we have two beautiful letters from distinguished Canadians who wrote to Father Kenville on this particular occasion. And I'm sure we will all be happy for Father Kenville. The first one is Reverend Father. My warmest congratulations to you on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of your ordination. Your many years of dedicated service to the Church and to your fellow citizens are a valuable contribution to the religious and civic life of your community. I am certain that these years of selfless involvement have brought you great personal satisfaction and enrichment. May you be blessed with health, happiness, and peace in the years ahead, and may you reap the benefit of God's divine grace and love. Yours sincerely, Raymond John Natition. The next one is, Dear Father Kenville, I am delighted to extend my congratulations and sincere best wishes to you as you celebrate your 40th anniversary of ordination to the priesthood. 40 years of devotion to the spiritual well-being of the community are indeed cause for joyous celebration. The work which you have undertaken is worthy of special recognition, and I am certain that the entire community is greatly strengthened and encouraged by the loving dedication with which you have served your church. I join with your many friends and family in wishing you the very best on this special occasion, as well as peace, health, and happiness in the years to come. With every good wish, yours sincerely, Jean Retien.
Wow! I have never seen Father Kenville. So I said, how you call my Father Kenville? I said, what did he say? He said, don't give me that shit. Conclusion that Father Kenville was a wrong one. I'm happy to say that since I've gotten to know him, I think he's the right one.
I wasn't joking when I said that wasn't censored. I don't know. Thank you, Mrs. P. One of the stories I put aside who it is yet, Father Ron. Any ideas? It's okay, it's a long time ago. I'll tell you some more stories and I'm going to tell you the source, okay? I'm going to read this. I've said part of these, but I'm going to read the rest of it because I think it represents a lot of how Father Kenville's own confrere and all his friends, whether it be through parish involvement or through schools or through community life, do feel about him. I'll let the story speak for itself. I first met Father Ron Kenville, my friend, early in September 1950 in New Jersey. I'm going to have my dentures fitted on Monday. I lived with him at 3 different places and during 3 different periods of time. Newton, New Jersey, Jacket River in New Brunswick, and Dalhousie, New Brunswick. And I will just mention a few anecdotes here from each place. Hopefully these anecdotes will give you a snapshot of this endearing person with a heart of gold, direct, loud, not overly diplomatic, transparent, sensitive, and yes, timid, but yet also often and regularly a unique, visible center of attention. As it was often remarked, if the Lord had not given us Ronnie, we would have needed to invent him. Now the first story was one about Chaise, which you already heard. The second one has to do with Father John Fita, who was a Salesian in Montreal, who passed away just this past year. This is going back many, many years to Jacket River, 1965. And dear Father John Fita was trying to drive behind the college in a field, a half-ton truck. And it was a rickety old standard transmission, and it was kind of rough. And imagine this, Father John Fita, a young... And he's watching Father John drive around in this manual transmission truck, and he says it was a very jerky, stop-and-go kind of experience. You can picture the situation, he says. And then from the back of the college steps came these bellowing, loud, screaming, desperate shouts between cupped hands. Shift, Fita, shift! Shift, Fita, shift! Remember? Okay. I just got to verify the veracity of my sources. I don't want to be telling my shit. The next one. During 3 years in Jacket River, I was prefect of studies, principal, and Father Kenville was director. One day, I don't remember the grounds of the disagreement, I could feel and hear Father Kenville charge out of his office some 30 feet away from mine and let me have it in his own very loud, direct, spontaneous style. After a few sentences of his unmistakable repertoire, I very softly and gently told him, Ronald, when you can speak softly and calmly, come and see me. You know what? Father Kenville just walked away, and then 10 minutes later came back to apologize. This is the kind of unbelievable stuff this lovable man is made of. My last story has to do with the ring that Father Kenville wears on his finger. Contrary to what Chris Smith said, it's not his wedding ring. It has to do with a very touching experience he had when he was in New Brunswick, and perhaps he'll tell us parts of that when he has his valedictorian address at the end of the evening. But what Father Rev.Fr A., who was the author of these stories, says is this. Last year, 1993, on vacation in New Brunswick, I was invited to a social in Dalhousie. To my great surprise, I was soon surrounded by at least half a dozen boys and girls, former students of Father Kenville, who all wanted to know how their unforgettable and beloved friend, Father Kenville, was making out. Father Kenville still has a ring, which they made him, as an enduring sign of their gratitude. And remember, that's over 20 years ago. Who of us can say as much? There you go, Father Kenville. I bet you're getting out of patience. But we've had a lot of fun with Father Kenville tonight, and it does represent the kind of relationship we do have with him. And I think, Father Ron, what was being said at the homily today, I can certainly speak to that. From my earliest involvement with you, with the Salesians, you really made me believe and see that being a religious and being a man of prayer wasn't something boring, or wasn't something stuffy. You put a lot of life and joy into your faith, and that did inspire me, and it still does. And to see you as a man who is devoted to prayer and to the good of the congregation and to the good of the young people, that does inspire me and encourages me. So for all of that, I thank you on my part. And I wish that God continue to bless you, and that many others, after your example, will follow in your footsteps. Now, an evening like we've just celebrated obviously doesn't have...
I shall shall overcome. I shall. Are you nervous?
I'd be a nervous wreck with you.
Don't get nervous, Father Ron. I'm just up here to say thank you to so many people who put so many beautiful things together. We unveiled the beautiful portrait by Mrs. Baptiste, who did not have a sitting person. As she told me, she took the eyes from when he was principal, the hair from when he was this, and legs from when he was that. And she did an unbelievable job. But also, there's also somebody here who told me that he's not a portrait photographer, but he certainly did some job with this portrait. And I want to thank Mr. S.D.B.at for the beautiful photograph that we portrait that we have over there. Also, I'm very grateful to the Etobicoke Funeral Home and the Etobicoke family that is here, that has provided all the beautiful flowers in church and the flowers on the table. I would like to thank in a special way all the youth of the parish who helped in cleaning and setting up and getting so many things ready. I would like to thank in a very particular way some people who are not here but wish they could be here, but are very dedicated to the parish, even to the extent of having to work at bingo tonight. So I would really like to thank the bingo workers who would love to have been here but couldn't be here. I would like to thank in a very, very particular way Brother Mike Pace, who I had to fight to get to do this. I don't know why he felt inferior, because he certainly turned out to be superior. The only reason I really said that so nice and gave him so many compliments is that his mother's helping me with my diet. Also, I would like to thank Mark Scola, who has been here with the sound system, and also Vince Scamillari, who has been here helping us with the music. I would like to thank also Janice Hutchinson, who provided all the tickets for us and had that all done for us, so thank you, Janice. I would like to thank in a very particular way Michelle Hart and Antoinette Pace, who took care of all the balloons and helped us with the decorations. Thank you very much. I would really like to thank very much Magda and her staff for the wonderful meal also that they provided. I was told that I was only to thank the social committee and so many of the social committee, and I do of the parish, so many different people work throughout the day. But believe me, from beginning to end, I owe an extraordinary debt of gratitude to Jackie and Joe Carabinos, who really took over this and gave it such a beautiful work. I really want to thank you very, very much.
I would like to call Mr. Frank Purslove to address a few words to Father Kenville. And Mr. Purslove is the Deputy Grand Knight of the Knights of Columbus, Deputy Grand Master of the Knights of Columbus for Humber Valley Region, to which Father Kenville is also a member, I believe.
Yes, my association with Father Kenville goes back long before the Knights. I remember him when he first came to Etobicoke. It was he and Father Galise, and I can still see them now driving away after school in a little red car. And they really brought something to Etobicoke. And then a few years ago, the parishioners there, they talked him into coming to Humber Valley and becoming a Knight of Columbus. And I had the privilege of working on the team for his first degree, also for his second degree, and also for his third degree. And it was quite a privilege. And that was all done in a span of 6 days. And the day that he took his third degree and was knighted, Archbishop Ambrosic was also knighted at the same time. So it was quite a thing. And at this time, I would like to call him up here. We have a little plaque to present to him here from Humber Valley Knights of Columbus. And just one thing, over there is Father Peter Tomeno, who is the worthy chaplain of our council. And he's a wonderful priest. I'd like to give this to you further on from the council.
Thanks a million.
Hey, Ron, stay there, Ron, stay there. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Stay there, Ron, stay there. Mr. President, you can sit down.
One last photograph.
Jesus, who has given me this calling to the priesthood. Also to the Virgin Mary, the Blessed Mother. When I started my theology, I entered theology in the holy year of 1950. And I had the privilege of being ordained in the Marian year of 1954, which was the 100th anniversary of the proclamation of the dogma of the Immaculate Conception. So of course my heart is really attached to the Blessed Mother in a very special way. And she's never let me down in many occasions in my priestly life and my religious life. My gratitude, of course, goes to Father Trudell, who initiated me to the Salesian life. I was only a kid at the time. And Father Trudell arrived in Toronto, in Canada, for his first Mass after his ordination in 1939. It happened to be that the chalet of his family was next to the chalet of my aunt, who was my aunt Blanche Michaud. She was a Kenville. She was the older sister of my father, and she married a Michaud, so she was Blanche Michaud. And I have the privilege, of course, of having two of her daughters here this evening. Sœur Jocelyne Michaud, who is a sister of the Congregation of the Holy Names of Jesus and Mary, and she is stationed presently in Montreal. And her other sister, who is Colette Michaud, who is now Colette S.D.B.at, and he's a senator. And of course the senator couldn't get down, so he sent his beloved wife down, and that's my beloved cousin Colette Michaud, who is Colette Michaud S.D.B.at. Of course now, I have another cousin there, and that's Lise Lerich. Now she's a sister of wisdom. And she's also in the presence, she has her elder brother, who is Raymond Lerich, and his wife, Madame Robidoux. So those are the tables are close to my parents and relatives, and of course I want to thank them for their presence and sharing this evening with me tonight. Of course I have a lot of gratitude also to my own Salesian confreres, Father Deck, our pastor, who started this ball rolling here, okay? And then Brother Bernie, who was always the inspiration, and he's got his hands in everything and does everything. And also Father Chico.
I think they would be interested to know the origin of that ring.
Oh no, après.
All right, give it there. It's a beautiful origin to that ring. It means something.
And of course, Father Kelly, this was the organizational genius of all that's going on here, okay? And all the decorations and everything else, and all the people implied, he's the guy that organized it all, so I have to tip my hat to him, of course. Okay? Of course, now you've introduced, they've already introduced my brother, his wife Betty, and his son Richard, and his daughter Lori, and her little family. They've been all reintroduced. Okay? And so I won't go through that again, so rather. So I introduced our sisters already, so we know who they are. And now my gratitude also goes to, of course, the women who help us very much here at the parish. Our beloved secretary, well, you know who she is. Diane. She's a secretarial genius. You just can't substitute a woman like that. Okay? Of course, we have also our beloved teacher, religion teacher, Suzanne, and of course our wonderful cook, Bernice. Where is she? Oh, there she is. And of course, Stefania, who is ever near to keep us orderly, tidy, and neat. That's no easy task either, you know. So I go back now a little bit now to my gratitude, really my gratitude to all the parishioners, all of you. Of course, I hold you very dear to my heart, to all of you. Of course, I can't give you all the names. The first name I met here was the Pace family. Of course, when I heard the name Pace, I said, well, I'm going to speak to them in Italian. Pace. Pace is certainly Italian, I said. So I started talking to them in Italian, no dice. The one that says, hey, we're not Italians. I said, you're not Italian with a name like Pace. I said, what it could be? What could it be? Father, we're Maltese. We're Maltese. Oh my God. Ishli Maria, Grazia Biblia. S.D.B.at. That's all I know. The Lord be with you, S.D.B.at. That's as much I know about Maltese. But anyway. So, you were there too.
Yeah, you were there.
And of course, I met Mr. Garuzzi and the family, and I met the Burns family with Betty, Elizabeth, yeah, whatever. Betty, anyhow, and if I had to name all of you, I'd be here all night. You know, Mrs. Smith and so many others. I just can't go on forever. So I mean, you're all included. That's it. Okay, and I want to thank you all for your kindness, your goodness, your understanding, and I hope I can continue to try to help you, or we work together for the glory of God, for the goodness of our souls, and for our eternal salvation, that we all may meet in the heavenly abode for joy and peace forever. God bless you all. On the occasion of an exchange of personnel in New Brunswick, I was told I had to go and take one of the priest's place there and substitute him, since I was the only one that had a license to teach in New Brunswick at the time. And so I was called on by phone, and he said the principal there, he told me, he says, you'll have a particular job to do here, Father. And I says, well, can you tell me what you're aiming at? What's it all about? He says, Father, you come here and I'll tell you when you get here. So I just went off, and that was it. So when I got there, he says, now we want you to take care of 2 classes. Now these are kids that repeated every elementary grade from the beginning right to the 8th grade. So they came to high school, they were between 19 and 21, starting high school. Now there was 21 of those that spoke French, and another 20 that spoke English. Because I had to alternate the 2 classes, one group in the afternoon and the second group in the morning. And every week they switched off. And then of course they had to go to a shop. So they had half a day of formal teaching, but it's the language, math, and science, 3 subjects. And so because the law of the New Brunswick, well, there was mainly the paper mills. The paper mills, you had to have a minimum of 10th grade to get into a paper mill. So I had them for 2 years, these kids, okay? These two groups. And I was just alternating, and I was trying to teach them the basics of their own language, which was French in one case, English in the other, science for both of them, and then math for both. And I was alternating and so forth. One day was 1 week, and the next day the one group would be in the shops. And one morning, then I had the other group. In the afternoon, I'd have the other group, while the other group was in the shops. Of course, now the boys, they wanted to take cooking. Some boys wanted to become chefs. And I thought it was an honorable, request. So I went to the principal. I says, there's a number of boys in these particular classes that want to take cooking because they want to become chefs. Father, you tell them that's out for boys. It's only for girls. But I says we have to change the mentality. The best cooks in the world are men. They're not women. You question that now. Best cooks in the world are men, not women. Well, anyhow, I tried to insist with the principal that they should have a chance to take cooking because they want to become chefs. No dice, Father, just cancel that. It's only reserved for girls, cooking and sewing and all that. That's for girls. Boys don't go into that. Oh, money. So I have these classes for 2 years, and we're about to disband because after 2 years, most of them go out and they go to the mill. Now they all got jobs in the mill. In fact, the mill was starting you off at $15,000. That was years back now. They started you off at $15,000, even if you were just one of those good guardians at the mill. So you started off at $15,000. And my teachers weren't making that kind of money. So they were coming to me. I says, Ken, well, what the hell's going on? He says, you're stupid graduates there. They're making $15,000 a year, and I don't make. I'm a graduate of university. I got a BA, and I'm going on for further studies, and I don't make that money. Well, I says, it's very simple, sir. Change your occupation, go to the mill. What else can I do? Change your occupation, go to the mill, get a job at the mill. Oh, no, man, that was out of the question. No. Well, anyhow, so we're celebrating now the 2 years, okay? So we have a class party. And in the class party, they bring these chips and they bring popcorn and all that crap over there. The drinks, the different drinks and all that. And the January of that year, this guy comes in, he spins a bolt on my finger. I says, what are you up to? What's this? Oh, I'm just horsing around, Father. Don't worry, you're just horsing around. He takes the bolt downstairs. I think it's a bolt. You call it a bolt? Yeah. He puts it on the mill there, and he shapes this thing out. Out of the bolt, he shapes this thing out, and he chromes it at the end. So when we had this feast, he comes up to me, he says, Father, we have something special for you. I still remember the guy's name, Louis Massadol was his name. I can remember till I die, that guy. But anyhow, he comes up, and he had it in a nice, beautiful box that he got at the jewelry there. He asked the jewelry man to give him a little box to put the ring in. Oh, it's gorgeously set up. And he brings this ring to me. I says, what's this all about? Oh, he says, Father, this ring we are presenting to you so that every time you look at that, you say a little prayer for us, that we guys might save our soul one day. So I promised that I would try to carry out, what their objective was, that I would wear this ring, and I would think of them, and when I say a little prayer, I would dedicate the prayer to them, asking the Virgin Mary and asking the Lord to help them save their souls so that they may enjoy eternal bliss with the Father, with the Son, with the Spirit, and the Virgin Mary. That's my story. It's the light of mine, I will let it shine. This the light of mine, I will let it shine. It's the light of mine, I will let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out, I will let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out, I will let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it up, I will let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around St. Benedict's, I will let it shine. All around St. Benedict's, I will let it shine. All around St. Benedict's, I will let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Put it under a bushel, no, I will let it shine. Put it under a bushel, no, I will let it shine. Put it under a bushel, no, I will let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I will let it shine. This little light of mine, I will let it shine. This little light of mine, I will let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thank you, Vince and Father Ron. And to close us off for the evening, we give the final word to our provincial.
Be very good, Father Kenville.
Thank you, Padre.
After all, we have to live with each other for 50 more years, right? You can see from the story of the ring some of the things that I was trying to say in the homily about Father Kenville. So I think the best conclusion that we can have would be to simply say a prayer of thanks, to thank our Lord for the meal, for this wonderful gathering, and also to thank the Lord for Father Kenville. So I would ask you to rise. And I could use no better words than the words which Father Kenville himself wrote, which are found in your program. I invite you on top of the little picture which you have received, if you want to have a souvenir of much that has been said today, much that has been shared, and a few words from Father Kenville, that you can do no better than take home the lines that are here. So in thanksgiving, I say, both in Father Kenville's name and in our own names, the following. For your calling me to the priesthood, I thank you, Lord. For our Mother Mary, ever close to help, I thank you, Lord. For my parents, grandparents, godparents, family, and friends, I thank you, Lord. For all the wonderful confreres in my life,
I thank you, Lord.
And for all the loving, generous parishioners that surround me,
I thank you, Lord.
And may God bless you, Father Kenville, and keep you with us for at least 1,000 years.